If I look this way, it's not because I'm not interested in what you've got to say. It's because I've got a list of things that they've given me here to remind me, just in case I forget anything. Just so you know.
Likely excuse.
I try not to.
Hey, Jono, right here. Look at me in the eyes. First things first, I want to 100% make sure that this is actually Jono.
It is Jono. Right. Like you, it's definitely him.
I'm just making sure because I had one of the most embarrassing experiences. I don't know if you heard about this. Was
it Miami?
Yes, it was Miami.
I know about it then. I know it was you. I didn't realize it was you.
Great. I bet you want to end this interview right now.
Not at all. No, I thought it was hilarious. I got sent a message on WhatsApp about
it was so embarrassing. So everybody that doesn't know the story, so Above and Beyond is coming through the One Music Ave event, and it's the three of them, and well, what I think is the three of them. And before we start recording, I'm like, guys, this is exciting for me because it's like the first time I'm getting all three of you guys together. And James goes, yeah, it's actually not happening.
He's older than me, but as we get older, kind of age sort of merges. And, I've probably done a few more miles on the road than him. So, I'm kind of slowly morphing more into him. And
Well, I was talking to Kerry Vance right before this, and he said that the same thing has happened to him before. How often does that happen to you guys?
Look, I mean, you'll relate to this, Brian. I think that, it's a case of he's bald, he'll do, right? That's a phrase I always use. I get sent, once every month or so, a picture of a bald guy in a bar or something, and they say, "Oh, it's Jono. It's just a bald guy," But you've done your own trick on yourself there, I guess.
It is so baldest, and I am so tired of it.
Baldest, yes. Stand up for our rights.
Well, Jono, welcome to America's Dance 30.
Thanks for having me on.
Now, I'm going to ask you the hard-hitting question that all Above and Beyond fans have been wondering. Why have you guys been torturing us for so long without new music?
Well, I think, to be perfectly honest with you, I think it was a good time to kind of take a bit of a rest. We could have kind of kept going and going and going somehow and try to put out lots of material, but we have been working away in the studio, so there is new material. And so we've got new material coming up for ABGT, our radio show in London that we're going to be doing next month, only a couple of weeks away. So getting a bit nervous for that. We're playing at Creamfields in the UK soon as well. So there's new music coming. It's just not been put out there yet, is the answer to that.
Early on, when I was talking to Afrojack during the pandemic, he kind of was going through a feeling of, it's so hard to put out music right now because we're not going to clubs. We're not doing festivals. Was it kind of the same feeling for you guys that it was hard to do it?
110%. I mean, it's, it's only in the last few months that I've really sort of ramped up kind of making club music again, because I've just felt sort of slightly disconnected from that. And it, threw up a lot of questions really, because, it really is about sharing that music with other people. And when you take away that, I mean, I would always listen to dance music at home, but I would also hear it in clubs. So when you take away that piece of it, you kind of lose some connection. So I'm really looking forward to just reconnecting with that, because it's so inspiring. When you've done a gig, you sometimes hear the DJ before playing something, you think, oh, that's kind of cool. Or you take away an idea, and, that inspiration and that world has just been kind of shut off, right? And so I'm sure there's going to be lots of chill out albums being released as well.
And that's something that is really big at Above and Beyond shows, is the fans connecting with you guys and kind of singing. So I imagine that takes away a lot.
Absolutely. I think, I got into music because I love music. And then you start doing gigs, and it's not just about the music you make, it's about the connection with the crowd and all these other things. And, that being taken away I've had a lot of time on my hands,
Well, let's talk about good stuff. Congratulations on the brand new anthem with Justine Suissa, Almost Home. How did that come together for you guys?
It's actually a song that was written quite a few years ago, but we kind of never had the right version. There's quite a few songs that sort of come about like that, like Sun and Moon, for example, that I think was written like 4 years before we released it, or 5 years.
Stop.
And then we finally got the right version. And then it's just like, you have those moments where you go, that's it. And I hope we had one of those moments. Well, we did kind of have one of those moments. Hopefully the audience like it. But yeah, you kind of find a version that works of something. So you kind of have the song sometimes, but not the production. And so that's one of those, really. It's been sat around as a song that had been written, which is often what happens. We write a song and then do the production later. Sometimes it all comes together at once, but that one didn't. And so managed to find time, funnily enough, to finish it this year, with all this time on our hands. So,
it's kind of crazy to me, the whole process of songwriting and putting the songs out. Because I was talking to Christian from Galantis last week, and he told me that Peanut Butter Jelly he had for like 10 years before they put it out. That's mind-blowing.
It is. I can completely relate to that, because it's sometimes you maybe don't have, like I say, the right version, or there's something, it can be better somehow or something, but you haven't quite got there. And that happens quite a lot to me anyway. And I think to the other two, where we have that feeling around a track that, there's some real gold in here, but we haven't quite got it. And sometimes it's knowing when to let go of it and to put it out as it is. And the other time, knowing when to actually wait and, work on it more and take a break sometimes. Like sometimes take 2-3 years break and come back to it,
Now, when you're doing a song with Justine Suissa, like Almost Home, how do you guys decide if it's going to be Above and Beyond or Ocean Lab?
Well, we kind of made a decision to stick to Above and Beyond a few years ago, just because it's easier for the audience to understand. But really, this is, at heart, it's an Ocean Lab record, I would argue. Yeah.
And you guys have obviously worked with amazing vocalists like Justine Suissa, like Zoe Johnston, Richard Bedford, Alex Vargas. Is there something you guys look for in a vocalist for your songs?
I think sometimes it's nice to have someone who isn't already discovered. Sometimes, obviously, Zoe Johnston had worked with Faithless, for example, and Justine had worked with Chicane before, for example. But it's nice when you find a singer that you can kind of make something with that's unique, that hasn't been done before. So we look for that sometimes. But I think, also people who can write songs, it's good if the singer can actually sing their own songs. I kind of like that, rather than sort of just writing a song and then getting someone else to sing it. That can work too, but it's nice sometimes if the singer who wrote it can sing it. So.
Well, yeah, I feel like they have more of an attachment to it then, if that's the case.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations on the brand new song, Almost Home. Let's get to know Above and Beyond a little better right now with a feature I call Finky's Firsts. I'm just going to ask you about some firsts from Above and Beyond. Just tell me the first thing that comes to mind. I know the name Above and Beyond came from an old motivational poster, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
Was there a first name that you guys were going to go with before Above and Beyond?
No, there wasn't actually. That was the first name. Tony's very impulsive, and he just went Above and Beyond. He saw it on I had it stuck on my wardrobe. Above and Beyond, that's it. And I was like, I don't know if I like this name. I don't know. Oh well, we're stuck with it now. And then it's actually a good name because it's A in the alphabet on billing and stuff. It's helped us in the past.
For all the festivals, you got top billing.
In all kinds of lists. I think they've worked it out now generally in the world, but it was a good run for a while.
Now, do you remember the first show that you guys did as Above and Beyond?
Yes. I think it was the first show we did as Above and Beyond, which was one in Tokyo, and we played. It's a crazy show looking back, because we played alongside Tiesto, Ferry Corsten, and I think Svensson and Gielan. So it was this big kind of indoor event in Tokyo, and they kind of rebranded trance music in Japan cybertrance. It's a strange thing. Yeah, they kind of sort of like to make their own brand out of something, and so we went there and played this gig, and it was kind of crazy, playing with all those established DJs, because those guys had a good 2 or 3 years of maybe part of that sort of trance movement at the time. I think they DJ'd before that as well, but there was a kind of trance wave around 1998, wasn't there, or so? And this would have been 2000-ish, maybe 2001. And I think we got the gig because of our Madonna mix. And then we got asked to remix this Japanese pop star called Ayumi Hamasaki. And they invited us out to do a gig, and we said, yeah, why not? That'd be great. It was a great ride.
And did you guys know Tiesto and Ferry previous to that show?
I think Tony knew Ferry Corsten because he was involved in commissioning, when he was working at a record label, commissioning the remix of Barber's Adagio for strings. But no, I'd not met any of them before. And we had a great time out there. It was good fun, yeah.
Now, I think everybody has an incredible moment remembering an Above and Beyond show. I mean, I think back to Electric Daisy Carnival and being under a purple tree with it pouring rain, with all of my friends just singing along, losing our voices to Blue Sky Action, I think it was. I mean, just such an amazing moment. Do you remember the first show that you went to, a non-Above and Beyond show that kind of had an impact on you?
I can remember a few. One of the first one that came to mind was when I saw Paul Oakenfold, and it was in a club called Home, which was, I think, business-wise, a bit of a disaster for them. It got shut down after a couple of years because they couldn't make it work. But a few nights in there were great because Paul was the resident there, and I just remember certain moments in his set and seeing the crowd react, and it just really inspired me. Just seeing that from a kind of punter perspective, because I used to love going to clubs and, really absorbing the music, just like what you've just described. And for me, that was a real moment. I think he played, I think it was Jamond Tomorrow. Do you remember that record?
Wow, a classic, yeah.
Yeah, and when that big synth came in, they turned all the blinders on in the club, and it was just such an incredible moment. And I think it taught me just the power of that level of drama, because Paul, he's quite a showman and waving his hands around and stuff. And but it was just really dramatic, and I just like the kind of power behind it of what they did with the production and stuff for that time. It was good.
Now, you guys are obviously famous for pulling people out of the crowd, allowing them to come up on stage to push the button. Do you remember the first time you brought that up, that you were going to do that? How did that conversation go with management?
Well, so yeah, how would we do it with COVID now is a good question.
Oh yeah, tell me about it.
So actually, I wasn't there the first show it happened. I think it was Tony and Parvo playing somewhere, and Tony got someone's hand and pushed it on the button of the play button of the deck, and that's kind of how it started. So, it's funny. It's one of those things that sort of, wasn't talked about. It just kind of started happening at every show, and then it became a thing, and then it was sort of a thing we thought about after it was done a few times, and it became a bit of a feature. But it's kind of one of those things. We've done it so much. It's at this point, we do it for the people who like to still do it,
Yeah, I can imagine being in like a production meeting and you guys saying, okay, just go with us on this. We're going to grab somebody out of the crowd. I just don't see that going over well in production.
Well, they're normally the ones wanting us to keep doing it, to be honest, these days, which is quite funny.
Now, do you remember the first time that you guys realized that Above and Beyond was such a phenomenon?
It's a funny one, because I think the nice thing about the journey has been that it's not been, oh my God, we've made it kind of mentality. It's been just a lovely journey of, little bumps along, ups and downs, but we haven't had this kind of career of a kind of, NASA rocket going into the sky kind of thing. So no, not really. I think it's been a really nice, steady journey of lots of surprises, generally positive ones. And I think that's been good for mental health as well, because I look at some artists who've had incredible success, and I think, how must that be? And I'm sure people might look at us in that way, but I don't think I would have liked that sort of suddenly being catapulted into something, It's been nice to sort of feel like it's been hard work at times. And I'm not saying that those kind of quick elevations to stardom are not hard work. What I mean is, just to feel like you've been on a bit of a journey to get there is a nice thing, I think.
The hard work kind of makes it all worth it and all better, because we have been grinding at this, it definitely, and I get what you're saying, because if you kind of skyrocket to stardom and then you go through the plateaus for mental health, that's got to be tough.
Yeah. And like this last year, just thinking about if I had to stop, performing now, I've had a good time doing it, and that's a nice feeling. We've had 20 years at it. It's quite a long time. Obviously not all of that was touring. Maybe the last sort of 12 to 15 years has been pretty relentless, but Yeah, exactly.
Now, finally, with the brand new song Almost Home with Justine Suissa, is there a first person that gets to hear an Above and Beyond song when it's finally done?
Probably my wife, but I mean, apart from that, apart from her, I would say Gareth in the office, probably. Yeah, he probably heard it when it was finished, I think, other than Justine. So
has there ever been a song that you play for your wife and she doesn't really like it and you're like, we got to go with this? I mean, I think it's a good song.
I can tell, even if she's trying to be polite sometimes, I can tell. And I do respect her opinion because she's got good taste in music. So,
well, she's from Texas, so it totally makes sense. Congratulations on Almost Home, Above and Beyond, and Justine Suissa. You guys are about to kick off a tour, right? A U.S. tour?
We are. I have a list of dates to my left.
Now you can look at the list.
There's no way I could recite them. But yeah, we got, I think it's 12 dates across 8 cities across America. There you go. And we kick off on September the 18th at Huntington Bank Pavilion in Chicago. But no, it's going to be awesome. I personally can't wait to get back into the States and get touring again. I've said it before in many interviews, but the audience in the States, really go for our music, and it's a real pleasure. So can't wait to, get cracking with it, really.
And the 450 show that's coming up in London, is that going to be your first show back?
No, it's not. So we have a show at Creamfields, which is a big festival in the UK, on the 28th.
And what do you guys do? It's been over a year that you guys have been out performing live. What do you do to prepare for it?
Exactly. What do we do? I'm getting nervous. Well, yeah, I'm sort of refamiliarizing myself with the advent of DJing again. But no, finishing off a lot of music, really. And that's kind of nerve-wracking because I like to kind of test stuff out in a smaller venue first. And we're going straight into Creamfields. But we'll be able to test some of the stuff at ABGT there, which would be great. But it won't play exactly the same music, obviously, because we need to hold some stuff back for that. But yeah, just preparing for that is a good question. It's making me a bit nervous, because I haven't. At least you're banging it out on the radio, right?
Yeah, but dude, I'm telling you, like my first show back was a festival, and my anxiety leading. I don't think I slept the night before just because.
Oh, I'm getting nervous. I'm really just thinking about it now. My physiology.
Well, Jono, let's not get nervous. Congratulations on Almost Home with Justine Suissa. Jono, it's always awesome seeing you. Thank you for your time on America's Dance 30.
Thanks for having me, and I really appreciate the support as well.
So awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Now you can get a proper check of me. But you don't muddle me up with my brother. But honestly, everyone does it.